Welcome to Homefront Sit Rep with Willis
and Megs. Don't forget about Blaze.
We're just a couple of veterans having a good time talking about what's on our minds.
And maybe yours.
You can find us on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify.
Or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Good evening and welcome to a live edition of Homefront Sit Rep. Megan, we had a great conversation just a few minutes ago with a Marine Corps Raider, and now we're going to transition just a little bit to the Army, and we are going to talk with
10th Mountain,
the 10th Mountain guy himself. We're going to talk about Warrior Rounds. We're going to talk about Warrior Rounds trailer. We're going to talk about so many different things. 30th anniversary of Operation Golden Serpent, or Gothic. Sorry, why did I say Golden? Gothic Serpent. And then we're going to talk about just whatever. So we're going to bring in.
And then hang on, just because he's even in the intro. Shout out to Blaze.
Yes.
Yesterday was his birthday, so happy birthday to Blaze.
Happy birthday to Blaze.
Who is now on the sofa. Previous podcast, he was on the cold concrete. Now today, now an hour later, he's on the
sofa. Buried in pillows. So we're going to bring James Thornton, and I spelled his name wrong. It's Thornton. So I do apologize for that. But welcome to the stage, Mr. James Thornton.
Hey guys, thanks for having me tonight.
Hey, no, we're glad you're here, brother. We are glad you are here. So yeah, man, you got a lot of things going on. You've been a busy man the last couple weeks. We recently met in person. We've been talking for a little bit, but we recently met in person, and yeah, you went down to Tennessee this weekend. Murfreesboro. Spent the weekend with your brothers from the 10th Mountain. So, man, talk to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, if you just want to start from the beginning and then bring us forward, that'd be awesome.
Well, it was a cold, snowy day, February 24th, 1971. You want to go back that far?
Yeah, no. I mean, you tell us, man. But we do like to give everybody a little back history and how you got to where you are now. So, yeah, wherever you want to start, it's good for you.
And if you're watching, please leave a comment, and we can highlight it.
I'm just a normal guy. I'm just an old country boy from Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
You're not.
And to where I'm at today has absolutely 110% to do with fate. And if you don't believe in fate, and if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, if you spend enough time with me, I'll change your mind. So, after school, I hung around and just got fatter and lazier and decided to go in the military. And I had somebody recommend, go to 10th Mountain, go to Fort Drum. They just stuck a lot of money up there, and they got really nice barracks, and they forgot to tell me about the 4 to 5 feet of snow. So we started out in basic training, and we were what the military called a cohort unit. We all started out day one together, and we would stay together till the end of our term. So 3-4 years, whatever it was back then, I don't even remember. So they broke us all down, they built us all back, and they literally created an elite fighting unit from the guys from the 10th Mountain Division, our battalion, 2nd Battalion, 14th Infantry.
Nice.
That's awesome. I know I served with down in Guantanamo. It was part of JTF, and I was one of the 22 units that kind of got pieced together, and we had a 10th Mountain guy that joined us. He's no bullshit, man. He was no bullshit. Like, he had already been over to Iraq and Afghanistan. And actually, I had to drag him off a block because one of the guys that he saw when he was over there, he didn't see him. So, and then he saw him again in Guantanamo. So, 10th Mountain, don't fuck with them. That's all I got to say.
From what I could be wrong a little bit on this, but from what I've heard, it is the most deployed division at this time in the military.
I think it's pretty accurate, and that's what I heard from him as well. It is way more than your Campbells, your Bennings, and everything like that. 10th Mountain, because they do train in the mountains and the snow and everything like that, and then also not during that time. It's spring, which isn't still warm, but you still have the mountains and stuff like that. I feel like you all are the most adapt to what anything moves forward to with what we've been fighting for.
Well, we like to have fought though too.
Hey, your buddy Jason Howard said he's proud to call you his friend. He's
absolutely watching. Thank you, Jason. I saw Jason. I went to school together. So okay. I've known Jason a long time.
Sweet.
Yeah, so he's on. Candace is watching. Candace is watching. So.
Okay, so you went to 10th Mountain. You trained as like a unit, kind of together, right? So then, moving forward, what kind of happened from there?
Oh Lord! I mean, we were constantly gone for training. The funny thing is, of course, we trained in upstate New York, lots and lots of code. But I don't think we ever deployed that I can remember to any place code. We went to Fort Pickett, Virginia for some training down there, and it snowed on it for 2 days, and they fussed at us for bringing the snow with us. But when we deployed, we went like Hurricane Andrew in Homestead, Florida. We went to Guantanamo Bay. We went to Panama, and of course, Africa. And, it seems like, every time we deployed, it was, you leave Fort Drum, it was -10, -15 degrees. You got all your cold weather gear on. You get an airplane, it goes way high. You're good to go. Then it lands, you're in Cuba, and they open the back door, and everybody's getting naked as fast as they can because it's just so daggone hot. Oh, yeah, it was interesting. And then, of course, when we got the alert to go to Somalia, we left in the cold weather there. The difference was we went over on a civilian flight. It was able to transport pretty much the entire battalion. So we got over there, and the good old Somalis, they welcomed us the first night, rounds and RPGs or whatever in the hell they were firing at us. Day one. I mean, hey, welcome to country, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it. Would you please quit shooting for a while?
Man.
So when did that happen? When did you get the call and you were like, okay, now all of a sudden I'm on a civilian flight? Because I took a flight to Guantanamo.
You'll have to forgive me on the beginning month, but we were over there for roughly 5 months, I think, and we left in December. So we'll just back up 5 months from then.
Okay. And that was Somalia?
Say again.
That was Somalia.
That's correct. Mogadishu was the capital. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they have a university. They had a university over there, quite large. And that's where our battalion's set up at. Headquarters, Alpha Bravo Charlie, all the support guys. So we lived at the University of Mogadishu, and we were what they consider the QRF, the Quick Reaction Force. Again, my understanding, the reason we were sent over there is because, of course, the UN and the Red Cross was trying to feed these starving people, and the warlords would send their thugs in, bully them around, take all their food. So the starving people weren't getting food, just the thugs and their families and so forth and so on. And so they sent us over there pretty much to stop that. And then it gradually, over a period of time, got a little worse and a little worse, and led up to the night of Operation Gothic Serpent. Because we've had, a lot of people don't realize this, but we had, I would say, at least 3 major firefights. 2 before October 3rd and 4th. We had one on September 13th. We were doing cordon and searches where we surround an area, go in and get the bad stuff out, and it turned ugly. They started shooting at us. Well, if you're from another country, I'm going to give you some advice. If you see U.S. soldiers in your country, don't shoot at them. And then September 25th, they shot down the first Blackhawk helicopter. And so we went out there and did another recovery mission there. And then they decided to shoot at us a little bit on that day, too. Again, if you're from another country, don't shoot at American soldiers when they're there to help. And then, of course, the night of the 3rd and 4th, that was the movie, the book, does it no justice. I mean, they're there to make money. So the movie is just that. It's a motion picture. Now, does it highlight the events? Most of them, some of them. But it, when you talk about the 10th Mountain involved, the Rangers and Special Operations went out to conduct I'm trying to think of a good word. They were going to do an operation. Should have lasted roughly about an hour. And it turned out to be a 17-hour firefight, which is the longest, bloodiest battle the United States military had been in since Vietnam. So by the time we got out there the second time, first time we went out, a company of ours got hit pretty good at an ambush point, and everybody was brought back, and then they got with Malaysians, and we got APCs and fought our way back out with a couple Pakistani tanks.
Which I heard were pansies.
Yeah, they weren't real. They were kind of high speed, low drag. Yeah,
I'm gonna say it for you. So the history and I've looked into is it was kind of like, I guess, one of the Pakistani tanks was like they're supposed to be there for you, but then they just kind of like got stagnant. And then, but it was at least the Malaysians that went in with their up armored kind of stuff came in with you. But
yeah, they had the great big white APCs with UN written on the side, the big rubber tires, all that good stuff. I mean, great, nice targets. But I've talked to a lot of guys over the years, and the worst thing about that fight was riding out there in those APCs. We couldn't do our basic infantry training from inside that APC. And for most of us, when we stepped out of that APC, it was a large breath of fresh air. Okay, now we get to do our job. And it was pretty much, we had trained so much and for so long. Hell, we knew each other that better than we knew our own families. We were just gone a lot doing some training. And when we first got out there, it was like, this is training. This is exactly what we were taught to do. Shoot, move, communicate. Shoot, move, communicate. And then when it started breaking over the radios that we were getting wounded, and then we had 2 KIAs from our battalion, it clicks quick. It's not training in the head no more. It's now, how dare you? Now we're pissed. We have an objective to do. We have a job to do tonight. And be damned if you stand in front of us at this point, because now we're pissed.
Oh yeah.
Now we're gonna do this job.
Yeah. Game on
and
like Donkey Kong.
I'm sorry.
I said game on like Donkey Kong.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It was, we still had our rules of engagement. We still had do's and don'ts, and we followed them. And they call it and I hope I don't mispronounce this too bad. It's called a Pyrrhic victory. And that's a victory that inflicts such devastating toll on the victor that is tantamount to defeat. Such a victory negates a true sense of achievement or damages long-term progress. So did we accomplish the mission? Absolutely. But that's where it stayed. So you get this book that comes out, and then you get this movie that comes out, and they try to blow it up and make it something that it wasn't. It hurts a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You had a couple hundred guys from the 10th Mountain on the ground that night. We had 2 guys that were KIA. We had several guys that were wounded. And the movie said something about the 10th Mountain with 12 minutes to go in the movie. And then from what I remember, when they told the guy the 10th Mountain was coming, he kind of made a joke about it. Who are they? What are they doing? Well, in real life, the president awarded our battalion the Presidential Unit Citation. And from what I understand, we also got the Valorous Unit Award, or vice versa, one of the two. The Rangers, guys we had never met before, talk highly of us because, and it's not tooting our horn, but if it wasn't for us in country at that time when this operation with the Rangers went south, there was a Ranger that gave a speech this past weekend at Fort Benning. And he specifically stated, he was an NCO Ranger on the ground that night. He would not be standing there that day if it wasn't for the 10th Mountain.
I was going to ask, is it possible or is it a way to make that shareable? Because I watched that, and because now he's a chaplain. Correct me if I'm
Correct.
wrong.
You're absolutely right.
So what he said about you all, I literally have, Willis can show you that I've got goosebumps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is amazing how he talked about your all sergeant major and how
Absolutely.
much it was so important that you all were there.
Correct.
And again, I even right before I came down here today, I paid $6 on Apple TV to watch another documentary just to kind of just see what I saw. Zero about 10th Mountain. But when I watch what this chaplain spoke about you all, I believe that 100%.
Absolutely.
And that is also why, thank you, Candace, for bringing this shirt home to me today. Again, I wear it proudly. And I cannot tell you, there is not a 10th Mountain person that I've ever served with that I can't have more respect for. So, so I would love to, at the end of this, we're going to put the link in for what that chaplain spoke about, because you all did not get enough credit. And it's not a movie. It's not a documentary. You all do not get enough credit, but he spoke so eloquently about how much you all deserve more credit.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, I'm just going to say, Christy and Jeff said my son is a Ranger, and he talks highly about the 10th Mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. His son is a lieutenant at Fort Bliss, commands a infantry platoon.
And then Candace said, I'm sure I missed people. Can you guys help tag 10th Mountain people? So,
and 30 years later, we never asked for credit. Just don't down us over what happened. Like in the movie, they're sending the QRF. Well, who in the hell is the QRF? It's 10th Mountain. Who in the hell are they? We're the ones that saved your ass that night. Now, the Rangers did not say that. That was in the movie.
right.
I've run into, I don't know, a dozen Rangers over the years that were there, had boots on the ground that night. And when they get done hugging me, we have a nice day.
Yeah.
We had a small to get together, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago up towards Cincinnati, Ohio. And another ranger that had boots on the ground that night is now a correctional officer at a prison in Ohio. Now, I won't say his name, but his prison actually makes the license plates for the state of Ohio. And he had a pretty good count of how many was going to be down there. And he had those guys make MOGVET, MOGVET, Somalia license plates. And he brought down there, gave them to us, shook our hand, gave us a hug, and thanked us. In real life, in 30 years, I've never met a ranger that had boots on the ground that night, or a special ops individual that had boots on the ground that night, not hug me and thank me. I've never had it happen.
Well, I just want to say I can't make up for all the years that have gone by. But I want to thank you. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. We really do.
So again, I'm gonna find that link of that chaplain and that speech, because I think he did it so well. And
he did.
He
did.
We'll attach it to this.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to know that's listening or watching right now, when you watch this link, part of who he's talking about, James was one of those. So
yeah, I was just a small crumb on this great big piece of cake.
But you did it. You were there. Like you had.
We did it. We did it. We did it. And we did it because we had exceptional leadership. Our officers, from the battalion commander all the way down, were phenomenal. We had the best NCOs at the time that the United States Army could offer. We had some really, really piss and vinegar full young soldiers that were eager to learn and very, very eager to accomplish a mission. No matter what mission we had, it doesn't matter what we done. We did everything we could to accomplish that mission, and we succeeded. We succeeded, and that's what we take. You know, that's what we take to heart. We did what we set out to do.
I heard the average age was like 19 to 22. Like
that's correct.
Is it? So what? So how old were you at the time?
I was 20. I was 22.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, can you imagine? Like, it just blows my mind that we've got these soldiers at this age that are 100% gung ho, and they understand the mission is, whether we know this person or not, we're going to bring them home.
Absolutely. They were Americans, and that's what that chaplain made that statement that it come from the sergeant major. We don't know those guys, but we do know this. We do know they're Americans, and they need to come home. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Hey, Frank. Hey, Sam. How you? No, I didn't know you like that. I know you had an American patch. You had the patch on your shoulder. You had that patch on your uniform. You're coming with us.
Oh yeah, you don't leave anybody behind. And
no,
me and you were having a conversation the other day when you were here, and it's about the legs. I know you think you know where I'm going with this. A lot of times, like in your situation with this, the movie only highlighted the Rangers. It didn't highlight the legs of the back behind the scenes. And that happens quite a bit in any military operation. Your special ops guys are the ones that are going to get more credit for the operation.
Absolutely.
But people don't understand that there's a lot of people in the background that is there either for support or whatever.
They don't understand, or they don't care. Take both of you out of the military equation. You're just regular civilians, been civilians your whole life. But as time goes on, you hear special operations, you hear SEALs, you hear Green Berets, you hear Rangers. So if there's a movie that comes out about a firefight and it has Rangers, special operators involved in it. Well, you watch that movie over a movie about the 10th Mountain. Most folks at that time scratched their head. What the hell's 10th Mountain? What is
Right.
it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And again, we didn't do it for the accolades. We didn't do it to be in a movie. You know, we did it because it was a mission, and there were American soldiers that needed help, and we were right down the road. That's why we did it. And again, we were led by some of the best officers and senior NCOs that the military had at the time. There's just no other way to put it.
So again, that's where I have to say I was fortunate enough that unfortunate and fortunate enough that I got pulled from my unit and was plucked into another unit that was made up of 22 different units throughout the United States.
Yeah.
We're talking about Oklahoma, we're talking about New York, we're talking about Missouri, we're talking about, I was from Maryland, DC, all that stuff, right? So all of a sudden I had barely 6 people that I knew on top of 200 some odd people.
Yeah.
And like I said, I give so much credit that there was this corporal who was out of the 10th Mountain that I love him to this day. You know why? Because one of the reasons I love him is as MPs, we were one of the few that still allowed corporals, even though it's always been allowed as an Army rank. But if you weren't infantry, you didn't really use it.
Right.
MPs used it also, right? So it's all the responsibility, but none of the pay, right?
Absolutely.
And he came in as a corporal. And before I got deployed, my first sergeant at my unit promoted me to corporal. And they were trying to take it away from me. And the guy from 10th Mountain goes, fuck them. They can't do that.
Yeah.
And I love him to this day for it. Now, he's the one that I had to eventually pull off a block because he ran into somebody he arrested over in Afghanistan. But, and he got a little heated. But, you know what I mean? Like, 10th Mountain, and the other thing that I say, and it just came up earlier in a podcast, it was Marines are the other ones that understand corporals. Yep.
You're absolutely right. And again, it's an E4 position, just like a specialist. But for us, the corporal rank, and I think all branches the same way, you get promoted into the NCO ranks by point system.
Mm-hmm.
So a corporal is a young man that has showed that he has the leadership capabilities, that he can do it. He just not. He hasn't made the points yet to make E5. So they give him a run at it. It's usually a team leader, and he's got that corporal position. And that absolutely, it's like a lateral promotion. They're the they're the new cock of the walk, so to speak, as far as the squads.
And if you've listened to any of our podcasts, you know that I have purple, rainbow, pink,
every color.
I have every color of the cock because I get to buy them. So,
Nice.
Yeah, she makes me feel insuperior sometimes.
I bet.
Mine's always bigger than his, no matter what, because I get to buy it.
Yeah.
But so moving forward though, for real, James. I first off, and thank you for being on here tonight. But there's a lot of other stuff that you are doing, and there's things going on. I know if you want to talk a little bit more about this weekend, because that was a big deal, because tomorrow is a very big deal. If you want to talk about that. And then also what you're doing moving forward.
Well, several months ago, I'm known, quote unquote, to take a lot of people down to Georgia and do some hog hunting. So I had this small 12-foot enclosed trailer that I've been toting around for a few years.
Mhm.
And then after I got back to Kentucky, I kind of got myself together, and I had a much larger enclosed trailer custom built. And then I'm sitting here at the house by myself with my dog day after day after day. And I'm like, why didn't I just spend all that damn money on that trailer for me to use once, maybe twice a year? I said, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And then something clicked. So I got a hold of my buddy, JT Cooper, who lives in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I said, man, I got me a big trailer and I want to decorate it in warrior rounds. And then I'm going to come to your house and steal all your shit, all your hats, your T-shirts, your CDs. And I'm going to travel around the country as much as I can and represent warrior rounds. And why I wanted to do this, several months prior to that, I was given an opportunity to attend a retreat with warrior rounds. And I found out that two of my battle buddies, one of them I hadn't seen in almost 30 years, were going to be there as well. So there was nothing going to stop me. I was going to Nashville. So we get to Nashville and they put us up in this really, really nice hotel. And next morning we go down, we went to this recording studio, and they, JT's there, introduced everybody and starts telling stories individually about the guys that, the veterans or whoever was there. And then they linked us up with an accomplished singer-songwriter out of Nashville. So I went through my little spiel, and my songwriter, his name is Bobby E. Boyd. Most folks don't know songwriters by, who wrote that song, but he was the co-writer of Bless the Broken Roads that Rascal Flatts won a Grammy with.
Right.
So these are accomplished folks that help out with warrior rounds. So we wrote a song together. Several weeks later, we did a free live concert at the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Nashville, where they presented my story and my song. They did it for my buddy Teachin, my buddy Dennison, and they've done, it's all over YouTube. Just type in warrior rounds and just start looking at the videos. Some of those videos, I'm telling you, do not drink and watch. And if you do drink and watch them, don't call me at 2:00 in the morning slobbering, because I told you don't drink and watch some of those videos. It'll rip your heart out. If you have a heart, it's going to rip it out.
We got the website going on the bottom right now for.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So excellent organization. JT Cooper was awarded the Purple Heart during Operation Gothic Serpent, Blackhawk Down. JT's roommate was killed there. One of JT's team members, Sergeant Houston, was killed there as well. So, we all want to do stuff together, especially as we're getting older. We're losing a few guys here, a few guys there. Some are the 22, some just medical problems. When I went through my cancer, they almost wiped my butt twice. So, it's just an amazing thing to be able to go down and experience what the Warrior Round Retreat does. We'll use you for an example, David. I can take you and put you in front of the best therapist in the world. I can also take you and put you in front of the best psychiatrist, psychologist in the world. Now, this is going to happen. One, you're going to be pissed. Two, you're going to say as much as you can, as fast as you can, so you can get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
But I can take you and put you in a small room with an accomplished singer-songwriter, and you won't shut up all day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
It's almost like
magic.
a podcast. Yeah, sometimes I can't get them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's magic. It works.
Yeah.
There's not one adult living today, I believe.
All loving kindness, but
yeah, I believe there's not one adult living today that at some point in your life hasn't used or had music to help you through something. Damn, I feel like shit today. Okay, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At some point, music has helped every single one of us. That's
Oh, yeah.
what works. It's magic. It's
Oh, yeah.
just magic.
So Wes, your buddy Wes says, "Spread the word, brother."
I'm trying, big dog.
And then Andrew Dennison said, "100% true statement."
Andrew retired as a first sergeant, although he keeps tooting and hollering 82nd Airborne. I love you, Andy. He keeps tooting and hollering 82nd Airborne, but ask him how many hips and knees and all that stuff he's had since he got out. And then Wes also retired from the military. He now works for AVTT, who does the Vietnam Traveling Wall. That's how I got connected with that, with Warrior Rounds, was through Wes. So the two real good brothers of mine right there.
Nice. Well, thank you guys for coming on and watching. James is an amazing guy, and I'm sure if he gives you 100% of seal of approval, you guys are as well. What we do is we highlight veteran service organizations from around the country, and James is
even veterans.
Yeah, just
veterans that want to tell their story.
Yeah, and James has got a hell of a story to share, and you guys in the 10th Mountain have a hell of a story to share. And James is going to be my go-to guy here for too long. He don't even realize it yet. So
I've been told slow down though.
You've been told what?
You got to give him a break sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, this is a little.
I'm a Marine. I go hard always.
I have to sometimes.
But no, so Warrior Rounds, I tell you what, you sent me that song that you and Bobby did. Man, that was powerful, dude. Let me tell you. And you hit it right on the head, man. Music and veterans are very relatable. I mean, because when you first join the military, you go to the gym, you play music. You're getting ready to go out on a mission, you're playing music. You're constantly have music playing depending on what mood you're in. Music in itself is a healer itself.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like a therapy. And Warrior Rounds, what I've seen so far, it's like, holy cow, dude, this is friggin' spot on. Why haven't more people done this? So man, I'm super excited.
Well, I would say, and I'm just going to guess, I would say the reason more people haven't done it because it's very expensive for the organization to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So without the funding, without the support, it limits the amount of times that they can, in fact, do this. Man, wouldn't it be great if we got the word out there and people actually got behind Warrior Rounds and we were doing one of these retreats once a month, hell, twice a month? You know what I'm saying? Look at the people. You take 20 what they consider warriors, and a warrior is not always just a combat vet. Let's just put vet. Let's put a first responder. Let's put a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
How about a Gold Star family? We got a video on there with some young children that their dad come home from Afghanistan, and they became one of the 22. Everybody has a story. It doesn't have to be a combat vet.
Right.
I've met civilians out here that everybody talks about how my story is so bad. My story's not worse than yours. It's not worse than yours. And that's why I use this term so often. We all do it different. I was told a long time ago, my grandmother used to make this statement that said, if the good Lord allowed everybody just to throw all your problems in this great big pile, but the deal was you had to take one set of problems out, you would take your own.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's 100%. I mean, my problems are my problems. Her problems are her problems. And yeah, I might think her problems are better than mine, but when I actually see it in a jar full, I'm going to take mine just because
I get out there around all these veterans and veterans' wives, their children. I'm able to talk, and I'm pretty good at it most of the time. But when I tell my story, They understand. I got a brother and his lovely wife. They lost a child. He was 9 or 10 years old on an ATV accident.
Hmm.
So when I tell my story that I lost a child at a few months of age, I immediately think about them. I had a few months, but I was in service, so I really didn't have that much. They had 9 or 10 years. We all do it different.
Yeah.
You know, we came home December of 93, mid-December, if I'm not mistaken. My daughter passed away April 10th of 95.
Hmm.
And then I filed for my first divorce in June of 95. That was a hell of a coming home.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I talk to these folks and I make them understand, look, I did a lot of bad stuff. I was not a very nice guy for a long, long time. And if I can pull my head out of my own ass, then you can too. My story's not worse than anybody else's. We all do it different.
Right.
No, like you fucking stabbed me with a spoon in the heart with that. You know, I tried so hard doing my part to have children with my ex-wife, and it didn't work out. You know, and now I do have 2 amazing daughters. They are 100% biologically hers and the donors, not me, even though I tried to be a part of it. Like, you try so hard. You try so hard to be a part of that. And you constantly try to be a part of that. And then 4 years ago, shit hit the fan with divorce and things like that. Like, but we do not forget about our children, you know? And I think that's what's so important. And I think that's one of the things that I think that is so great about, especially all the veterans I've met on here that have kids. Any veteran I've had on this podcast, or we've had on this podcast, or any veteran we've even talked to, is we do generally, like, we care about our children. And everything we've done, whether it's acceptable or not, we did it because we're trying to pay it forward. You know? So, mad to you and everything that you've done for your kiddos. So,
well, I finally won custody of my children, my daughter and my son. And I was not a good dad. I was not a good dad. There's so many things that I wish I could do over. But I can't. And it's caused a lot of problems. And for so many years in my relationships and raising these kids, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with everybody? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you acting this way? What the hell's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But I was pointing at everybody else. And it took me a very long time to point at me. That was the problem. And I had a rude awakening. I was working 60, 65 hours a week. I had my daughter and my son. I was drinking like a fish. They wanted to go to their aunt and uncle's for the weekend. I took them. I come home, did the same thing that I do every day and drink like a damn fish. And just, I don't know why. I turned my head. I saw my belt laying on the corner of my bed, strapped around my neck, stuck it on my bedroom door. put my hands in my front pockets, and sat down. Dangled about 30 seconds, then the damn belt broke. So remember, I said I got sick in July. I attempted suicide in October. I was still sick. Thought it was bronchitis, this nasty ass cold. Maybe it was COVID before COVID was COVID. So everybody was fussing at me, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. Well, I finally went to the doctor. I went to the VA emergency room in December of that same year. And they said, well, what seems to be the problem? I said, I'm having a hard time breathing. I think I got a real bad case of bronchitis. Well, how long has this been going on? Since July. All right, well, go out there and have a seat. We'll get to you in a minute. 5.5 hours later, they bring me in the bag. So after a few tests, I don't even want to call him a doctor. This horse veterinarian walked in, and like I'm somebody stupid, he said, so what brings you in? Well, you dumbass, you've been reading the paperwork since I've been here. We'll do this again. I'm having a hard time breathing. I said, I think I got bronchitis. Mama says she thinks I've got pneumonia. And he goes, ding, 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 we have a winner. Actually, your mom's half right. You have double pneumonia, and you have about 30% usage in one lung. And then the son of a bitch reached down, he patted me on my leg. And he says, you have some type of cancer. And he turned around and walked out of the room.
Turns around and walks out the room.
Yeah. So I may get some of these numbers just a little bit off, but I think the normal white blood cell count somewhere between 8, 10, 12,000. That's for an active, normal adult. My blood cell count that day was pushing 69,000. They put me in ICU at the VA hospital in Louisville. And on the second or third day, my white blood cell count went to 113,000 plus. So they sent an ambulance to the VA to get me, to take me to the University of Louisville. And I had some of the best floor nurses. I didn't know anybody like that at the time worked for the VA. I had some awesome floor nurses. So here come the two knuckleheads with a little bed to put me in the ambulance. She's like, is that an ALS bus, which is an advanced life support? And they're like, no, it's a transport. She said, well, you ain't taking him. They're like, well, she said, listen, I don't care what you do. You're not taking him out of this hospital without an ALS bus. So they leave. A few hours later or the next morning, I don't remember, they showed back up with an ALS bus. We get to University of Louisville, and of course, the head oncologist for the University of Louisville became my doctor. And that first night there, he told my mom and I that if I'd waited 2 more weeks because I was stubborn, then he would have sent me home with hospice that night. And that I was in such bad shape that the treatment he was about to do to me would probably kill me before the disease. And that little Chinese fella, I love him to death. Didn't lie. He whipped my ass. Literally. There was 9 or 10 days, 11 days that I laid in that bed, did not eat or drink. Mama stayed, I had a large room. Mama stayed in the other bed. She stayed with me every night I was in the hospital, but 2. And then she had my daughter come in there. When Mama would leave for work of a morning, I'd have somebody shut all the lights off, kill the TV, shut the blinds, shut my door, leave me the hell alone. Well, when you go through that much chemo, they want you up walking around. Last thing I wanted to do was pick my foot up, much less get out there in the hallway, walk around. Well, they started calling Mama drill sergeant. She'd get off the elevator. She walked right up towards the nurse's station, and they just shake their head no. Well, in come drill sergeant, slam the door open, turn all the goddamn lights on, TV, open the blinds, and then she gets my little shower shoes there, and she'll throw them next to the bed, and she'll cross her arms. She'll cross her arms and look at me. Let's go. No, Mom, I don't feel like it. Let's go. No, Mom, I don't want to do it. Over and over and over and over. And I'm like, if I get up and walk, will you shut up? Maybe. But see, a lot of people don't realize my dad, my mother, and I all had cancer at the same time.
Mm.
And my mom to this day tells people the only reason she had cancer is so she can help me through mine. So they got me squared away. 11 months later, I was doing good. Had to go in for my little checkup. I was getting ready to go on a 16-day deer hunting trip. And the little nurse come in, took all my blood and stuff, just like they always did. She'll be back 10, 15 minutes, give me the results, pat me on the butt, and I'm going down the road. That's the way it's been going for almost 11 months.
Yeah.
She leaves. 10 or 15 minutes later, 3 nurses, 2 doctors walk in. I know I'm in trouble. I've relapsed. It's back.
A clue. Yeah.
It had come back. And this time it was ugly. It was pissed. So doc's like, we're going to put you in the hospital. No, I'm going hunting. We'll discuss this when I get back. No, you don't understand. You need to be in the hospital. You're probably right. That's why you're the doctor. But I'm telling you, I need to be in the woods. So I had a nurse there that her husband was a combat vet, and he suffered from PTSD as well.
Mm-hmm.
And right there in front of everybody, she said, you don't understand. Everything this man puts on his shoulders when he gets in the woods goes away.
Yes. Yes.
So I worked out a deal with the doctor that I cut my trip in half that year. But I had to come to the clinic every day before I went. So every day for like the 8-9 days leading up to my hunting trip, I went in for doses of chemo.
Mm.
Now, I'll let you guess how sick I was when I finally went hunting.
Pretty sick.
One of our hunt club here is based up basically of guys that have all grown up together. And my buddy James, who is like the #1 guy on our team, was like, he goes nowhere without somebody. They wouldn't let me go nowhere without somebody with me.
Mm-hmm.
So got done hunting and come home, packed my bags, walked up to the 6th floor. Here I am. So they stuck my ass in the hospital again. I think this time was 3.5, 4 months that I stayed in there that time. And they were desperately trying to find me a stem cell donor. But because my case was so crazy, my doctor just wouldn't accept any number on the scale. So let's just say 1 to 10. He wanted a 7 or above.
Right.
And we just could not find it. So they say that you have like a 30% or less than a 30% chance of matching your siblings. So my oldest brother was like, well, hell, I'll get tested. You just got to know my oldest brother. I'll get tested. So they took his ass down there and they tested him. And the nurse called me the next day and she was crying. She said, you're not going to believe this. Not only did he match, he's a super donor. Our numbers went off the charts together.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So they kicked my ass with a whole lot more chemo and got my immune system down to 0. And then they had taken enough stem cells out of his blood, and they just walked over. We've got a picture of it somewhere. They just walked over and hooked it up to my IV. Drip, 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 drip. So the scary thing about a stem cell transplant is because it's a brand new immune system. Yeah. So David, if I donated you a kidney, your immune system can say, oh, that's not my kidney, shut it down. And that's what we hear about rejection. It's called host versus graft disease. So with me having a brand new immune system, it can literally come in and go, those kidneys aren't mine. That liver's not mine. That's not my stomach. That's not my heart. That's not my lungs. Oh, look up here. That's not my brain. Mm-hmm. So we did develop a little bit of host versus graft, but only in the form that I was throwing up a lot. And the doctors were okay with that because they wanted to see just a little bit of that host versus graft that tells them it was working. So that it was good. I was in there Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and they let me come home the day before New Year's. So,
Man.
so that's all of that crap that I'd done in my life and that I'd been through allowed me the opportunity to get out here and run my mouth to other people. And people's like, dude, I thought my life was bad. Your life was bad because you had to deal with it. I'm not trained. I'm not an educated person. I've just walked a lot of bad miles. I really have. I've walked a lot of bad miles. And I got tired of walking bad miles.
But you've now chosen to take those bad miles and make them into positive. And so that is like one of the reasons I cannot thank you enough for sharing your story. But like, I would love to hear also how much you've taken that negative, if you will, for the learning process or whatever it is, and you are now doing some majorly positive things. So
I hope so. I hope so.
I just from the little snippet that I know, I am already impressed. So I would love to hear, and our listeners to hear more about what are you doing right now. You somehow have survived all of this, and I only believe that it's by God's good grace.
I was going to say that.
Oh, it is.
That you
And,
did.
and a very strict mama.
Yeah, definitely. Mamas.
Woo! Don't mess with mamas. So how did you get from all of this to now you're doing all of this? Because it's you're moving forward and you're paying it forward. So kind of, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, somebody flipped the light switch one day. Somebody flipped the light switch one day and said, you know what? You can sit here and continue to get older. You can sit here to continue to stay alone. And you could die right here alone. Or you can reach over and you pull your own head out of your own ass and do something. So I utilized this great organization, Warrior Rounds, as a backdrop for me to run my mouth. When I first started this, I got into the custom car club, and that's what I did. I met a gentleman. His name's Glenn. They call him Ratman. He's got a Monza that is a pro street car. He retired a few years ago, but now he calls it the Pro One veteran car. So he goes to all these car shows. He pulls this great big loud machine out of his trailer. And then as veterans come by, they sign the car, sign the board. He takes a picture of them and he puts it on their Facebook page. So I got kind of hooked up with Ratman. And although it really wasn't productive for me, as far as what I wanted to do, yes, I was introducing some people to Warrior Rounds. I was not able to run my mouth like I wanted. And then Wes Shivers come along. Asked me, he's like, look, dude, I'm going to be like 2 hours and 15 minutes from your house. And you guys got to remember, I don't get paid to do any of this. I get a little Social Security check and I get a little VA check. So at the first month, I pay all my bills. What I have left after I figure out my food, my dog food, my cigarettes, hey, I got this much money left. I got all these shows coming up. Which ones can I go to? So Wes got a hold of me one day and is like, look, I'm going to be like 2 hours and 15 minutes from your house. Do you think you can make that show? I said, well, if you'll call up there and make sure it's okay. A young lady named Miss Patty and Mr. Larry. And he called up there, and supposedly while they were having a conversation, she's looking up Warrior Rounds on the internet. And while Wes is trying to explain what I'm doing, Miss Patty's like, yes, 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 yes. So they allowed me to come up there, be in the escort right behind the Vietnam Wall. I spend all my time beside Wes with his setup for the wall, and I have an amazing opportunity to speak to veterans, whether it's Vietnam veterans, Gulf War veterans. I get to talk a lot, and that's what I really like to do. And so when a wife looks at you and you've already touched her because she's telling you about when she was a child that her daddy killed himself. And then I play a video with 3 small children on there talking about their daddy coming home from Afghanistan, becoming one of the 22. Now I've got her in tears. And then she tells me about this great husband that she has that also went to Somalia right after we did. And then for 20 years, he won't talk. And I told her, I said, he'll talk. No, he won't talk. I said, ma'am, listen to me. He's going to talk. So the next morning he come over and introduced himself. We kid and cut up a little bit. We all got busy there that day. We were at the wall. And later on that evening, he come over and we may had a glass or two of brown liquid courage.
Yep.
And we started talking. Then I had him go around the tables and start watching these videos. Well, the videos from Warrior Rounds, that's my building blocks. Once I get you on those videos, I can talk to you. And I started talking to this gentleman. And I had him when he crossed his arms and I saw the first tear.
Mm.
Then he started talking.
Yeah.
And his poor old wife is standing there beside me, or beside him. And she, of course, she's crying. And she said, I've never heard this before. So anyone that is with a vet, especially a combat vet, they don't tell you these things because they don't love you. They'll take a bullet for you. In a second, they'll die to protect you. You're their lover, their best friend, everything. But why would I tell you a story that you don't understand?
Yeah.
Why would I waste your time trying to tell you something that you just don't understand? But you know who he can talk to? Somebody that's walked 10 steps in his boots.
Yeah.
It's well said. Well said.
And it works.
Yeah, it does work. And I've been with my wife almost 20 years now, maybe longer than that. And still to this day, I don't really tell her a whole lot about my military. And then when I'm around other veterans and I start talking with them, she's like, well, I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before. I can understand exactly what you're talking about just for the simple fact that I'm that way. Man, it's just that's powerful in itself.
It is.
Just
And see, what I have learned over the years is what I'm trying to teach / show folks now. If you can talk, that helps just a little bit. And you know what that little bit does for me? It tells me that there's hope that you're not going to be one of the 22.
Yeah.
Because you learn just a small way, just to get a little bit out.
Yeah.
So to me, I've done my job. That's what I want to do. If I can stop one every show I go to, or it doesn't have to be a vet. It doesn't have to be trying to stop somebody from 22. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
If I can get them to understand where I came from, what I've done, and if I can pull my head out of my ass wanting to die, all this other crap, then you can too.
Yeah.
And again, my story's not worse than yours.
Yeah.
We all do it differently.
Yeah, definitely. Megan and I, we always say one vet at a time. That's all it takes. One vet at a time.
And of course, my focus is vets.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just one person at a time.
No, it's no.
That's-
So we also do not discriminate
Yeah.
against
Right.
family,
Absolutely.
friends, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. And even just now when you were talking, you sit there and you talk about how just talking helps. It just sometimes also sucks
Yeah.
that
Yeah, but you know what you do when you talk, even though it sucks. You know what you do? It's like a pressure relief valve.
Yeah.
You're letting off just a little bit of pressure.
100%, 100%. So, but what I'm saying is when you release that, so using your example, the pressure relief valve, right? And it's come back because the person that you were trying to release that pressure to is pushing it back down or turning that valve back on and making it tight. That's where I do believe in, for example, 988, because I love people in my life. I really, really, I genuinely love people in my life, and I think we all have purpose, and I think we try. I believe, and I hope and pray that we have the best interests for each other. But let's face it, the actuality is he has to go to bed because he's got to wake up early in the morning. I stay up late at night. I don't know what your schedule is, whatever it may be. Sometimes there are times where you desperately want to be able to talk to somebody. Either A, they don't get it, or B, they're not available. So that's where I just want to use this time to say 988. Like, please, you know, like James, I love you to death. In the short time I've gotten to know you, and I have no doubt that if you're awake, just like if Willis is awake, I can call you all, and it's all good. But maybe you're not. Maybe you're not when I'm in crisis, and so we need to have backups.
Absolutely.
And I do not want to see one person be a part of that 22. I've been close so many times. I know you shared that you have as well. Um, so just that's if you go way back into one of our podcasts, we talked about a safety plan, and not to take over what we're talking about right now, but I really challenge anybody to go back into our previous podcasts where we laid out the whole safety plan, which is where you're talking about who can you call and what steps you're going to take if you go down a rabbit hole.
Absolutely. And
And
and having a connection with your God, with me, with Jesus Christ, is sometimes my mama taught me this years ago. Sometimes you have to put human feet and hands with angel wings. You call me, I'm having a bad night. I think I'm gonna kill myself. The most I can do is call for help for you and pray. But what did I just do? I just put human hands and feet with angel wings. If I can't physically get to you, by the way, I'm still calling emergency people and I'm still going to pray. But we're still putting human hands and feet with angel wings. And we don't need to forget that. We just don't need to forget that. You know, that it's like Jesus Christ asked me in December of 2014, "Oh, you've been sick half a year? Try to kill yourself. You want to die, huh? Well, here, let's try this out for a while. And when we're done with this, you let me know how you feel, see if you want to die." No, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
yeah,
I'll stick around until, you know, Toby Keith's got that newer song out, "Don't Let the Old Man In." If you haven't heard it, you need to listen to it.
yeah,
You just need to listen to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was one of those things. I just recently heard a story about a veteran friend of mine. He literally put the gun to his head, pulled the trigger, And how often nowadays, especially, is there a dud round?
Yeah.
But it
It's
was
too often.
you know, but it was. I have no doubt that was divine intervention. That it was a dud round.
Absolutely.
Because
The Lord does not. The
shame
Lord
on
does not need our help. He
No.
doesn't need our help, but each other we can help.
right.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
But literally, his wife was antagonizing him and videotaping him and telling him he was a piece of shit and antagonizing him and encouraging him to pull the trigger. And he did. And it went, but no
And
bullet.
she should have been prosecuted, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no, 100%.
But listen. Don't get me
you know
started
what I
on the government. We won't go there tonight.
Yeah, we're
We'll
not.
save that one for another night.
I'm just saying, like, God bless the Lord that, because this dude is an amazing fucking dude. Like, holy shit. Like,
And I hear that a lot. I really do. I hear that a lot. That whether it's a male or female, that partner is just. I use this because I learned this a long time ago. How many times you heard somebody say, "Well, they just push my damn buttons"?
Oh,
We've all heard that, right?
Mhm.
Well, here, do this, guys. Pull your arm up right there and look at your forearm. See your forearm right there? Your forearm right here.
yeah.
That's where your buttons are at. So if somebody's pushing your buttons, put them over you. You can't push my buttons if I don't let you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Quit pushing my damn button. I no longer want you pushing my buttons. Here they are. Oh, you
Yeah.
still want to push them? Then you need to go away from me. I don't care if we got 5 days together. I don't care if we got 50 years together. You don't push my buttons. These are my buttons. I don't push yours. Don't push mine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And it's simple. It's just respect. It's just respect. Don't push me to where you don't like me anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you keep pushing me, I'm going to become that asshole that you don't like, and you know it. So why push it? Don't let them.
Yeah.
Put the buttons away. You can't
Yes,
push
sir.
them.
Well, Mr. James, it is now 10 o'clock.
But that being said, I feel like you didn't give warrior rounds enough kudos. Just one more time, can you wrap us up with a little bit of warrior rounds does, what's done for you, what's moving forward, anything you can tell us about it? I know you're not.
Well, if I repeat myself, I apologize. It's an
No,
excellent,
go for it.
excellent organization. Again, it was founded by J.T. Cooper. It's based out of Nashville. We bring they bring warriors in. You know, again, vets, first responders, Gold Star families, cancer survivors. Everybody has a story. And in Nashville, as JT puts it, everybody wants to know the story behind the song. So they video your story. They video you talking to this guy all day long. And then it's edit, and they make a nice little video out of it. And then your songwriter has time to learn that song. And then they present it to the world. Here is his story and his song.
Right.
And people eat it up. And that's why it's so powerful. That's why it works. And when you truly get behind something, when you truly feel something, it means something. So I got tired of sitting here at the house. I'm like, damn this, I'm going to do something. The only thing I knew to do was utilize that 24-foot trailer that I had just bought sitting in my driveway. So that's what I've done. And now it's led up to this. I got an email the other day. They're talking about bringing me up to speak to, I think it was the American Legion group of guys.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Well, what's it going to cost? It don't cost you anything. You make a donation to Warrior Rounds. If you want to buy me a cheeseburger when I get there, I'm fat. I'll take cheeseburger. You know what I mean? And that's how it works. I don't want the money. The money's not for me. If I can get to you and get home, I'm okay.
Yes.
I really am.
Yes, sir.
All right.
But help me support Warrior Rounds to get more people down there that can be blessed and touched like so many of us that have been there have been.
We have the banner going across the bottom. please, anybody, look it up, look it up, look it up, look it up.
Yeah, Google it for sure.
Even on
warriorrounds.com.
YouTube. So if you go to, you'll look them up. You can find them on YouTube. Then you can even find James Thornton's YouTube video.
Yeah.
Which have Kleenex ready.
Yeah, definitely have a Kleenex ready. James, so you do the trailer, the Warrior Rounds trailer. You got a Facebook group on there, so they can, look up Warrior Rounds trailer. If somebody wanted to donate money to you for Warrior Rounds trailer, because it does cost money to travel, all the place, how would they go about donating $10, $15, whatever to you so you can continue your mission?
On the page, periodically, I put something on there that, just help me get around to different venues. I do have one quote unquote sponsor. And, when I went to him, I was like, look, this isn't for Warrior Rounds. It's for my fat butt to get to certain places and help me along. And he was all for it. He looked up Warrior Rounds. He saw what they stood for. He saw the mission statement. Yes, he was behind it. So it's hard. Times are hard on people right now. So I don't try to push the issue too often, but I do have my Venmo and Cash App information periodically on the Warrior Rounds trailer page. I don't plaster it because I don't want people feeling that, well, he's just out after money. No, I'm not. And there's a lot of people that will stand back here behind me and say, you're right, because I've tried and he won't take it.
Yeah. And I will say it's pretty easy to find. So
it is. I mean, the page has been open roughly a month. I've got I think 551 members already.
Yeah.
So it's getting nice. I'm my loud mouth, my big mouth is finally getting out there enough where people are starting to recognize, and then I can represent Warrior Rounds.
Yeah. Well,
and I really, really recommend anybody that's listening to this, go to Warrior Rounds, look up James Thornton, watch the video. It does a great job of how they take the story into a song. And I'm trying not to get choked up because James is one of those that
he's a good one.
He's a good one, And so thank you so much for coming on here. Thank you so much for sharing about Warrior Rounds. Please go just Google it, YouTube it, whatever. And James, thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. And I know a lot of the visitors, the people watching this, I do know, and I know on a personal level. But if I don't know you, and if you've never heard my loud mouth before, when that demon knocks on the door, have a list. Do it now. Make a list of people that you can call at any given time. And they understand that if I call you at any given time, you're going to talk to me.
Yes,
because,
sir.
brother, I'd rather talk to you at 3:30 in the morning than to hear your freaking eulogy.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Real quick, before we leave, talk about the traveling wall that's coming to Shepherdsville next year.
Okay, back to my buddy Wes. He works for AVTT. The traveling wall is 360 feet long. It is an 80% replica of the actual Vietnam Wall in DC. It is the largest one. This company has the largest display. They also have the Cost of Freedom. Again, it has the 911, Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, and so much more, all together with the Cost of Freedom and the wall. There's a little over 70,000 names. A lot of people don't know. There's a 15-year-old young man on the Vietnam Wall. There's 2 16-year-old young men on that wall. There are 8 women on that wall. So this is a very powerful thing. So I was fortunate enough. I sent a message to our mayor and in Shepherdsville, and it was like a kid in a candy store. Yes. I said, well, Wes and I are still in Parkersburg. We're going to come down. We'll be home. Wes is going to come through town. We're going to hang out for a day or so. And Wes set up a meeting with the mayor. We went in there again. Yes, yes, yes. And Wes was like, well, we didn't even tell you the cost. And he's like, yes. So I have been honored through the city of Shepherdsville to help get this underway. It will be here July 25th through the July 30th, 2024. So it's, to me, it's a celebration all day long, except right before dark. And now you're going to kill everything. Now the focus is going to be on those lights and those names, because now it's time to honor. And that's what we're going to do. Definitely. We're going to have some live music. We're going to have some food trucks. We're going to have kids. It's going to be great. The escort, I want it to be monstrous, but just before dark, it stops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's time to honor those folks. And that's what we're going to do. They deserve that.
Now, all right. So
I've been at the wall in DC at night, and it is a totally different feeling. And when you're there at night, like, you shut up. There's no talking. There's no nothing. There's very few lights, just enough to light the wall. And that's where you just go and you take your deep breaths and you kind of feel your fingers across the names. Like,
yeah,
100%. So I appreciate that.
All right. So I'm going to say this. So it's going to be in Shepherdsville. It's going to start in Mount Washington. And when you say escort, you're talking about from when it travels from Mount Washington to Shepherdsville. You want people to help escort the traveling wall from Mount Washington to Shepherdsville.
Yeah, right now our proposed escort route to bring the wall into Shepherdsville, remember it's proposed, it still has to all be approved, is leaving Mount Washington, of course, with first responders in the lead. They're usually about 10 motorcyclists from the Patriot Guard, the ride captain, and 9 Vietnam vets. The wall, Wes, his trailer, then me, my trailer, and then the rest of the Patriot Guards behind me, whoever else. What I'm trying to get done is not only the Patriot Guard, but the Combat Vet Association Motorcycle Club. I'm trying to get, and I hope I don't mess this up. If I do, please forgive me. Don't give me bad phone calls in the middle of the night. I believe it's called the Voodoo Jeep Club. I want this procession to be so daggone big, because these folks on that wall and on those placards deserve it. It's not a parade. We're not going to slow down and beep and wave and throw candy. And no, it's going to be 2 trucks, 2 trailers, motorcycles, first responders, and some Jeeps. And we're going to escort that wall from Mount Washington, proposal, into Shepherdsville, and then have the celebration for those folks that so absolutely deserve it.
Definitely. Man, James, I tell you what, tonight's been very, very powerful. Just like you said, everybody's got their own story. You got your story, I got mine, she's got hers.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming on here and being you. Thank you for sharing about Warrior Rounds. Thank you for sharing about Warrior Rounds trailer. Thank you for just being you.
And Mogudi Shimayo, again, mad respect.
10th Mountain.
That's why I wore this shirt on purpose today. Because you all do not get enough credit. As somebody that's a historian, and I look into all types of military history, and I will make sure that if I don't do it, Willis does it, because he's the techie guy, that we are going to put that talk that the chappie put on, because I think he explained it so well.
You see that comment by Tristiano Di Maria?
Mari.
He says, "You done good, little man."
That's one of our NCOs. He's a hell of a man. He really is. I don't know if you saw my pictures from this weekend, but I had a picture of a gentleman standing easy for me to say. I had a picture of a gentleman standing beneath an American flag that was flapping in the wind. And the gentleman has a walking stick in one hand. He has another arm propped up on a bag that helps hold his arm up. That's Tristan.
Okay,
Age and time are not good to us, but
No.
brothers are forever.
Definitely. Well, man, I'm just going to say Semper Fi. You know what that means. I'm always going to be there for you.
I appreciate that, brother.
So,
love 10th Mountain. Anytime I've ever served with them, thank you so much.
we're definitely going to have to get together soon.
We will. I got to bring your tent back anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it got put to good use. I'm sure it did.
It did.
We're going to get together soon. We got to talk about some things that's coming up in Mount Washington that we're going to plan for next year.
Fantastic.
I've been in the talks with the mayor here in Mount Washington, so I'm excited about that. And
Good deal.
Bullitt County Veterans Group that we just started. Bullitt County didn't have one, but we do now. Roughly, we're I think about almost 100, a little over 100 members, which is amazing. I mean, it's only been 3 or 4 days since we started that.
Absolutely right.
And the good thing about that is the Bullitt County group is we're going to invite all of Bullitt County, Lebanon Junction, Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, and the areas in between, because we need veterans that we can create events for our brothers and sisters, just to celebrate them.
Absolutely.
So we're going to make it happen one way or another. I'm bound, bent, and determined to make it happen in our county. I don't see why Jefferson County has got to have all the fun when it comes to veteran-related events and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that. And
not only as veterans, but as humans.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
If we have good God-fearing humans stand as one, we can be unstoppable.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
We need to quit. We need to stop letting politics and everything else divide us. We are humans. Skin color has nothing to do with it.
We
need to stand together. We're unstoppable.
Yes, sir.
Be a village.
All right, people. So we got 7 people watching right now. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. From me and Megan, from James. We've been on here for a while now, and we could probably talk all night long because that's how we are. But thank you guys for watching. But like Megan and I always say, stay safe out there.
We got your 6.
Have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening. Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Discrimination will never be tolerated.
Cannot wait to have another great show with you all.
Don't forget, you can find us on Apple, Amazon, Spotify,
or wherever you get your favorite podcast. Stay safe out there. We got your 6.